Hello, my name is Sophia Janakakis, and I am the creator of the short film Sector X. And I came up with this idea originally because I wanted to do something in the horror genre, and I thought that it was a really good genre to pick because you don't need a lot of resources to make it look good necessarily. You really only need minimal tools and minimal editing skills to be able to make it look really cool. And it's definitely a genre that a lot of people are interested in and that gains a lot of popularity very quickly. So I thought that it was a really great opportunity to make something really cool and really suspenseful and really entertaining. And so I originally came up with the idea for my film, and I created a script and I took location photos, I created a storyboard, and eventually I realized, okay, I want to have two characters in my film versus one. So I didn't want to be alone in my film, and I thought, okay, why not ask my brother to do it? So I asked my brother to do it, and he agreed to do it. He said, okay, this is wonderful, let's do it. And so I asked him, okay, what do you think the title should be? Because I hadn't had a title by this point. I was just kind of like, okay, I have a horror film. That's great, I have a plot. But what's going to be my title? And he came up with the word Sector, and then he was like, well, why not put a letter after it? So I was like, okay, why not Sector X? That sounds scary, right? So we came up with the title Sector X together, which I thought was a really unique and cool title that definitely draws in a lot of attention, and I think that it definitely fits the film and fits the script. So my film is about a scientist whose lab experiment goes wrong, and he accidentally creates a mutant beast that runs loose, and he meets a detective in the woods who he asks for help from, and then they go on a mission together to try and find the beast. But the plot twist is will the beast find them first, or will they find the beast first? Trying to make it a little bit more suspenseful and entertaining so that people will be drawn to it and it's more popular. So one way that I would market this film is to put my trailer out there, but first, before I would even put my trailer out there, I would put out my poster for it, because I made a poster using Adobe Photoshop, and it took me about a day to make in total. And so I made the poster, and it's like a coming soon poster with me and my brother on it. It shows the woods, it shows like really creepy like fog, and kind of like fades into the night sky above, as you can see displayed on the screen right here. And so I thought it was a really good way to market my film and to gain popularity with it and everything. So, and then I would definitely advertise it locally first versus nationally, because I want to test out how successful it would be locally first before I move on to production nationally. And if it was successful locally, I would definitely produce it nationally so that everyone could enjoy it and be entertained by it. And there's definitely a lot of stuff in my plot that would be interesting to a lot of people and that a lot of people can relate to, because there's a lot of social groups and social issues that are occurring right now in the world, and I think that my film challenges a lot of those things. It challenges the norm of adults being the main characters, and it definitely challenges that norm of them being the protagonist and the antagonist, and the antagonist not being human necessarily. A lot of the times in horror films, yes, you'll see a monster or whatever, but a lot of the times behind that monster will be a person or somebody else who's the true antagonist. But in my film, it's just simply a monster. It's something that is looking for them, but they're also looking for it. So it's definitely something that's different and unique from a lot of other horror films, which I thought was really something that gave me a one-up on other horror films, and something that could really make my horror film successful if I were to actually advertise it. And so and also the two main characters are two kids. So the scientist is a kid, which is not exactly normal, and so is the detective, that we're both teenagers. It's like very different, and they're looking after a beast, and they don't know if it's going to come for them or if they're going to go for it. So it's like, it's definitely something that's different in the film world. And I think also too that the mistake that the scientist made kind of shows like how, and the beast being the problem in the film kind of shows how your problems can either come back to you or you can go to them and solve them, unless you decide to let them affect you. So I think that it's definitely representative and has a lot of symbolism behind it. And in addition to this, I think that while producing this film and while figuring out my plot and filming and everything, my production skills, just seeing the symbolism and seeing how it challenges these norms and everything, I think during the filming process it really helped me develop production skills and helped me to really convey more emotion out of people by using like different camera angles. I used a lot of over the shoulder shots, mid shots, eye level shots. Originally in the beginning, I was going to have an establishing shot, but the drone that we had was not working and the film quality was very poor. So I decided to scratch that idea and make it eye level, which actually worked out in my favor because I tilted the camera up at the end, and as you can see, it says the word Sector X, and it rises up from the tree. So I think that's a really cool effect that I was able to add that I would not have been able to add had I used an establishing shot. And then I used a variety of other shots as well to convey many different emotions so that it could be entertaining to my audience. And one of the other shots too that I thought was really cool, at the last second, I was like, oh, a detective has a magnifying glass. So I found one in my house and we zoomed in on it, and it made a really, really cool shot of the flower, as you can see here. And I thought that that was a really unique shot that I have not seen in a lot of films. And so I think that definitely makes my films stand out from a lot of different horror films and just films in general. And I think that definitely throughout this process, I've become a better filmmaker. I've learned how to utilize camera angles, lighting, and everything like that. Originally, I filmed my film in the daytime, and I was able to make it look like it was nighttime because I searched up on Premiere Pro how to do all this stuff. Throughout the entire process, I used a lot of YouTube to search up a lot of tutorials on how to do a lot of the things that I did, such as the adjustment layers, the text rising up from the trees, how to make day turn into night. I mean, that's a pretty big deal. And just the graphics in general. And I was able to learn all this as I went, and I'm really glad that I did, because it's definitely a skill that I can continue to use for the rest of my life for sure. And so after shooting my film, I told my brother all his lines. I told him what I wanted it to look like, and he executed it perfectly, just the way I wanted it. And so we did have to make a couple revisions to the script, such as the music I was using. I was originally going to play my own music, but the quality was definitely very low, and I did not have the resources to properly capture the sound of my flute. I am a flute player, so I decided to use a couple of pieces of music that I have played in a full band before, and it definitely sounds more full and just better with a full band in general. So the two pieces featured that I have played in there is North Star Overture by John O'Reilly and Lightning Field by John Mackey, and both of those pieces, North Star Overture has a really cool adagio part in it, which is like the slow flute, like solo part that's really kind of creepy and eerie, and the whole song is very upbeat, but that section just really makes it slow down, and it's definitely something that I thought would be a really good intro to my film. It's something that I pictured that from the start. And then Lightning Field, I was like, oh, wow, I remember playing it last year, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the perfect thing to put in the magnifying glass scene, because it's so unique and so creepy. It's definitely a very different piece. I haven't played anything else like it since, and it's just something really cool, and I still really like to play it, and it's just an amazing, really well written piece. Both of them really are, and so I'm really glad I got to utilize both of those pieces in my film. And so, in addition to that I included in my film, I really didn't even need, and then in the back as well, in the ending of my film, I used different music from online. I searched up more inspirational music because I wanted it to be more a little bit upbeat and kind of draw the audience's attention away from that slow kind of methodical feel of the whole film to more upbeat and kind of interesting. And so I didn't even use a lot of equipment for my filming and everything. I just used my phone camera and Premiere Pro and my laptop. That's it. And I didn't really need a whole lot for it. As I said previously, horror films, I don't feel like they require a lot. So I feel like it was a pretty good way to create it. I only use a couple of props. I used like a glass and some water and that powder that you see in the film is actually protein powder. So it's not too bad. And I think that after looking it over, I'm really satisfied with the results, and I think that it came out definitely even better than I expected, because a lot of those camera shots and angles, some of them I had planned to use before, but others I was like, oh, this would look really cool in my film, and so we decided to use them during the whole process of filming, which I always like to see while we're filming because it's really cool and unique to see how it all comes together and everything like that. So I was really pleased with the results, and I definitely was able to create more mise-en-scene with, I unfortunately did not have costumes or anything like that. I really wanted to get some, but I was not able to, but I was able to create more mise-en-scene with the lighting and with the props that I used. I grabbed a table that we had too for the scientist, my brother, so that he could use that and that we could convey the story a little bit better. And throughout that as well, to make it flow better, I used many different transitions and sound effects. And I think that throughout this process, I learned that even the little details count in it, even the littlest sound effects, like even when the scientist is pouring in the powder or the experiment, you hear this fizzing and also the bubbling of the beakers in the background. And that's really something that adds to the film and something that I feel like is really important, and that a lot of people overlook when they're making films, but I think that it's something that I learned is really vital to the success of a film. So overall, I'm really pleased with the way that my film came out, and I think that it's something that I will look back on and be able to say that I worked really hard on it, and that these are skills that I'll definitely be able to carry with me throughout the rest of my life. And this is definitely not the last production you'll see out of me, and I'm so glad that I was able to go through this process. I've made other short films in the past that have been good, but definitely this is probably my best one that I've been able to produce, and I'm very grateful for this experience. And now that I know how to use Premiere Pro a little bit more, I think that the quality will just go up from here, creating whatever I need to do, even on Photoshop. If I were to create a print medium or a digital medium, I think that the quality can only go up from here, and it can only get better from here. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.